So I thought that given that we're about halfway through at a midpoint, it would be a good idea for us to look at our expectations that we picked for the inquiry and see, do we want to do a check-in? We've done a check-in for them just to see where they are, but do we want to look at how we're meeting these expectations? And remember last year we produced something like this, right, for the students? Do the students need something to have in their hands so that they're aware of all the different expectations in the different subject areas? Because I think they're aware of it in a broad sense, but not necessarily specifically what we're asking them, the expectations we're asking them to meet. I think the overall geography expectations are automatically, they're well into that, right?
Definitely.
Okay, like so describing the possible features of a sustainable community. They totally have, right? Like they've formulated questions, they've gathered and organized data, they've analyzed and constructed maps.
Yeah.
They've interpreted and analyzed data. They're evaluating evidence and drawing conclusions. Like these are like
Yeah.
no problem.
Then the communication is the showcase.
And then the communication is the showcase.
But if we do take a couple of the bigger questions and add them in,
Right?
then we should be able to cover everything. You can formulate a question, doesn't mean you have the depth. I think we should ask some direct questions,
I do too. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
I
though?
like that. Now.
Now?
Yeah.
As they're going
It's
along.
like a check-in, but also like
Okay.
get that deeper level of thinking and
So we have to make sure it applies to all of their spaces, right? Because let's think of like there's a broad range. Some of them are like someone's doing Subway Station and someone's doing Ontario Place. So we need to think about the questions need to be broad enough that they can find a way to respond to them.
Well, they
What do you
know global urbanization, like the trend towards urbanization.
and sustainability. That's
They have sustainability in the first question.
So how about something to do with how does your design reflect what you have learned about global urbanization? What do you think?
Yeah. Do you want to take the
So
one?
that's geography done.
Well, what
let's
about
have
the
this-
one that's at the top there? Describe some practices. What are, like, what lessons can we learn about sustainable living?
From blank.
So from the global examples,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So, what are the sustainable practices you?
But aren't they answering that in question one? What types of actions can be taken to
Yeah.
make
But
buildings more
it
sustainable?
doesn't hit the global
Yeah.
examples because they may give a bunch of actions, but they're not connecting it to the
Other
global,
countries in the world.
which is the
Yeah.
this global settlement.
What lessons can we
Yeah.
learn? Like that's a.
Or what lessons have you learned?
About sustainable living? How about
then-
just that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just that, and see what they say
From.
from global example.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the global examples that you've.
collected,
All right.
What lessons have you learned?
Yeah.
There are a lot of students right now, they had trouble, first of all, with the global idea, but they're picking a lot of examples. It doesn't mean that they're connecting to why that example works
Yeah.
in that space. They
Right.
might say right now, oh, I like this because this visually looks appealing. That's like the buy-in for engagement is, oh, I like the way this looks, or this maybe handles one situation, but they don't connect it back to the space that it originally came from. So that might do that, right? Or they would say, well, this was needed in Tokyo because,
Space issues.
right? Yeah. So it might actually require further research because some of their sources might not go into great detail about why that example works in that space.
So would it work though to show them the expectations and have them come up with how they're meeting the expectations, even in point form afterwards? Like if they were to say, if we were to say to them, like, you know, the one of the expectations straight from the curriculum, and then ask them how are they
would
meeting,
you
how
show
are
this?
you demonstrating this,
That's not a bad idea, actually.
right? Because then it's not one size fits all. It's they get to, because the areas are so different and what they're doing is so different and their product is so different. It feels artificial to try and narrow them down to one question for everybody. And if you think about the check-in that we just did, it was very broad, right? Very, very broad. They could have answered it in so many different ways. So for them, for that boy, Amir, who says, we haven't even done science yet this year, right? You know, we haven't done science yet this year. it would be great to actually hold up the science curriculum and say,
Have we done this?
this is the inquiry that you're doing, the design that you're doing is hitting the grade 8 curriculum in these ways. So how would you like to demonstrate to us that you have met this expectation? And remember, we're trying to develop sort of habits of mind, right? So even if what we see, what they produce for us doesn't have as much variation as we're looking for, we're developing the habit of mind of how to look at sustainable, development, and for in the future when they are urban planners, we're creating a habit of mind for them.